Blue Table fans, this is Matt, the terrain guy. I am going to be playing a little bat rep with Jeremy, who's behind the camera. Say hi, Jeremy.
Hi.
We're going to be actually playing Dorado today, which is made by Cypher Studios. They're the same people who make Anima Tactics. I'm actually a free agent for Dorado, so you should see a lot of these videos starting to come out about just general things. I'm going to try and do battle reports every once in a while. Right now, we're going to be doing a battle report for 2 starter boxes, which right here you see we've got Demons, which is one of the 6 playable factions if you count mercenaries in Dorado. And then over here, I will be playing Saracens, which are sort of Middle Eastern assassins. And they're pretty neat. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over the basics of how the game works, the anatomy of the cards, because this is a card-based system, and then we'll get into it. Okay, so as you see here, I have a card, which actually, if you pull that out real quick, that's shiny a little. Okay, thank you. The stats in Dorado go as such. I'm trying to zoom in, but the camera's a little rough. But basically, you have movement, defense, faith, and command on the front of the card. These dictate pretty obvious things. The movement is how far you can move in inches. The defense is your target number when rolling dice to attack anything. The faith score only comes into play during special things like commands or orders or anything like that. Command itself is a special ability that pretty much every player gets. You get command points that you can use to spend on orders. You can't really see it because of this camera, but this particular guy, the Pillar of the Faith, has an order that he can spend command on, which I will get into in a second. You also have shooting, combat, protection, life points, and then you have all the various weapons and power tables in the back here. So that's just the basic anatomy of a card. We're also going to go over what each of these individual cards have for special abilities. Okay, so here's a summary breakdown of each of the units. So we're going to start with the Saracens first, which you can see the models are all lined up right here next to the cards. We're going to start over here with Chams al-Majid, the Jinn. There are 3 types of units in Dorado. You have officers, which you only have 1 of in any company, which is what this entire squad is called. It's called a company. Then you have independents. Chams al-Majid is an independent. Then you have troopers, which are just your rank and files. So Chams al-Majid is a Jinn. He is fairly powerful. He has some auras that can do some interesting things like increase speed, and basically he's a buffer. He has a special ability on the card called Intangible, which allows him to ignore terrain. For the purposes of this game, we're not going to be using the terraforming rules, and we're just going to be doing a simple scenario, so the intangibility will not really play into it too heavily for this starter box game. Next, we have the Nazir, who is basically a old wise man riding atop of a large burly guy with a sword. He is the officer for the group. He has Charisma, which is a officer ability. Allows anyone within 4 inches of him to get a +1 combat bonus. He also has Leader, which lets you take double the normal amount of troops. He has Healer 5, which allows him to go up to other units as well as himself and heal them for 5 points of damage. He also has Expertise. Now this is where actions get into an interesting thing, because Expertise allows him to normally you would only be able to heal and do nothing else with the Healer 5, but because he has that, he is able to move as well as do that. And Tenacious. Tenacious allows him to, anytime he's attacked before he activates, he gets a +1 combat. Next we have the Pillar of the Faith, who is sort of this burly Arabian guy with a scimitar, and he has Attraction 3, which basically says any time someone moves within 3 inches of him, they have to go into combat with him, because he taunts them into combat. He has Bodyguard, so anytime he's in base-to-base with an ally, like the Nazir, who has no protection rating, he gives them a +1 protection up to a maximum of +3. And then he has Fierce. Anytime he's ganged up on, he gets a combat bonus. Then you have the two Blessed Warriors, which they're pretty cool looking. They have just two special abilities, Combined Attack and Natural Talent. Combined Attack lets, anytime they gang up on someone with allies, normally you only get a +1 support bonus, they get a +2 support bonus. So they're really good at tag teaming people. And Natural Talent gives them 1 free reroll. So now we're going to go over here to the Demon faction and kind of give a rundown on, these are starter boxes as well, so you can pick these up very cheaply. You have the officer for the Demon faction, which is Asalia the Fallen. She's the Rebel Angel. And then you have 2 Damned Ones of Sloth and 1 Damned One of Wrath. Also, you have the Harborim, which is an interesting miniature in itself because it's not a normal type. It's not any of the 3 types I told you about. They are used for magical spells, which gets into the magic system, which we'll explain in a minute. But Asalia has a special ability called Infernalist, which is basically the spellcaster type for this game. She also has a card that has all of her Infernalist spells on it. She has Charisma as well. She also has Expertise, so just like the Nazir's ability to heal, summoning a Lemure with her spells will cause her to not be able to do anything, but because of Expertise, she still gets to move. She also has Concentrated, which also plays into that as well. Anytime she would do a concentration action in combat, normally you would get penalties to doing so, but she does not because she has that. Evasive also says anytime she's in combat with an ally there, she can't be targeted as long as the ally is alive. She also has Levitation, which is kind of like the Jin's Intangible in that she's not affected by difficult terrain. And she has Terror, which is self-explanatory because she's so scary that people get a -1 combat to fight her. Next you have the Damned Ones of Sloth, which are troopers. They have Attraction 4, so they're kind of like the Pillar of the Faith. They have Advanced Deployment 4, which means after both sides have deployed, they will deploy last, and they can deploy 4 inches outside of the normal deployment zone. They also have that ability to Nations, as I just told you about. But they have a negative ability called Slow. This means they can never charge into a close combat. Then you have the Damned One of Wrath. There's not much to him. He's pretty much just a heavy hitter, but he has an ability called Fury. Normally when you charge into a unit in this game, you get a -1 penalty, but he does not because Fury takes that away. So now over here to the Lemure. The Lemure is a special miniature that is used during the magic phase of the game. Anytime an Infernalist casts a spell, it is summoned into a creature called a Lemure. Now, this one is only one of, I think, maybe a dozen or so that you can get, and they all have different stats. But the Harborim, they all share the fact that they're harmless, they're mavericks, and they're insignificant. Insignificant will play into the game when we explain dominance, which is how we'll start the game. Maverick and harmless basically says they can't take orders and they can't receive orders, and they also cannot be affected by going to someone's control area. So normally when you move into a control area, you have to go into combat with them. They also have elusive and invulnerable, which just makes them really, really hard to hit and really hard to kill. Of course, they are only used to blow things up with spells for the most part, which we will get into in a little bit. Okay, so now we are going to start going over how the game is actually played now that we've explained a little bit. That may seem a little confusing at the moment, but once we get into it, it'll kind of make a little bit more sense what these guys are capable of. Alright, so first thing we have to do when starting a game of Dorado is determine dominance. Dominance is the command rating of all of your units plus the number of your units that are not insignificant. So, looking over here at the Saracens, the Nazir has a command rating of 5, and the Pillar of the Faith has a command rating of 1. I don't know why I said 3, but it's a 1. There's also 5 models on the board that are not insignificant, so that gives them a total command rating of 11. And then Jeremy, if you would just tell me what your command plus non-insignificant models are.
Alright, so Asalia has a command of 6. And then I have 3 non-insignificant units, giving me a total of 9.
All right. So what that means is that I'm dominant with the Saracens. The starter boxes vary in that because even though I can be more dominant, Azalea has some really powerful spells, so it's kind of a trade-off depending on which starter box you get. What this means is that I get to go first. Now, the way dominance works in this game is after the initial setup of dominance, anytime at the end of the turn someone kills more models than the other person, they become dominant. If no one kills any models, then dominance reverts to whoever was dominant last turn. Now, command also plays into your command pool, which is the total number of command points you have amongst all your units. So for me, it's 6, and for Jeremy, it is also 6. We have some little tokens over here, and this goes into your orders. Each model may or may not have orders. A lot of troopers don't have orders, but a lot of the independents and officers do. Like the Nazir has Inshallah Allah, which is a special order that lets him boost all of the Saracens' armor for a turn. And then the Pillar of the Faith has Divine Strength, which allows him to boost his combat ability as well as his faith for the rest of the game. Now, there are 2 types of orders in terms of spending your command points. There are temporary burns, which means that your command points will refill at the beginning of the next turn. And then there's permanent burns, which, the Nazir has a permanent burn. Inshallah Allah is really powerful, so it costs you for the rest of the game to do it. Now over here, Azalea also has a permanent burn command called Angelic Inspiration, which allows her to, it's really powerful too. She can heal all of her demons for 8 life points just at one point. She just pop it and all of a sudden make your day unhappy. So she's got that, and then she also has some auras, regeneration aura, which allows her to heal people within her area, which we'll get into in a second when we get into the game. There are also 2 general orders that all armies get as long as an officer is on the field, and that's called Ve Victis and Ve Soli. Ve Victis allows you to do a +1 or a +2 combat or shooting bonus to a unit, and Ve Soli allows you to activate a model after you've already activated one. Because in Dorado, it's not you move all of your guys at once. You activate back and forth. It's kind of similar to like Malifaux, if you've ever played that. So now that we've reviewed the basics of the game for the most part, that one last thing. You only ever use 5 dice in Dorado. The reason why is your combat or shooting rating, anytime you go over 5, it just gives you a reroll. So if you have like a combat of 7, you would get 5 dice plus a reroll. If you ever go over 10 dice, then you ought to start inflicting extra points of damage on top of your normal damage, which can one-shot even the most powerful things in this game. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to start with our deployment. I am dominant because I have a higher dominance rating than Jeremy, so I get to choose who deploys first. So I'll go ahead and let Jeremy deploy. Alright, so Jeremy has deployed, and this is the interesting thing about playing the Demon Starter. He's only got 2 miniatures on the board. Doesn't give me a real big tactical advantage. So he's got Azalea right there, and then he's got the Damned One of Wrath right there. Now the reason why is the Damned Ones of Sloth don't deploy till both of us deploy, and then the Lemure does not start in the game on the board. He has to be summoned onto the board by Azalea. So, I'm going to go ahead and deploy now. Okay, so I've finished deployment for myself, and Jeremy's also gone ahead and deployed the rest of his guys. As you can see, I've got the Saracens are all bunched up. There is a reason for that, which we'll see that in a second. And then you see that the Sloth Demons have advanced deployed over here. Now the thing is that's really good for them because they're really slow, and they don't have a high movement at all. So I'm going to go ahead and do my first activation. If you would just hold the camera, Jeremy. Alright, for my first activation, I'm going to activate Chams al-Majid, the Jinn. He has an aura called Aura of Protection that is always on. So right now there's a swirling sandstorm all around him, so if anybody tried to do any shooting attacks against him, they wouldn't be able to target anybody. But demons don't have any shooting attacks, so I'm not going to use that. What I'm going to use is the Aura of Speed. This is a temporary aura that only lasts for the turn I activate it, and it's active, which means that anyone that's hit with it gets the buff for the rest of the turn. So it's a 4-inch radius, which they call inches fathoms in this game. So I measure around, and all of my Saracens are within 4 inches. He activates the Aura of Speed, giving them a +3 inch movement boost, and then he moves forward 6 inches, which is his normal movement. And that is my activation.
Right, so for my first activation, because activation goes back and forth, barring certain circumstances, I'm going to activate this particular Damnation Sloth, and he is going to make a run order, which means he can move double his movement, which for a Damnation Sloth is 2, so that means he can move a whole 4.
And you can see he gets into seeing the Djinn over there, and the Djinn, kind of rabbles his face at you.
Right, and I'm actually going to go ahead and I am going to use one of my free orders.
All right.
And I am going to Vesoli.
Vesoli, so now you get to activate before me. He's got some sort of plan.
Yep, and in this case, I'm just going to activate my other Damnation Sloth.
Okay, all right.
And I'm going to run him forward as well.
Okay. All right, so I've got the Damned Ones of Sloth that have both moved up into this area. These guys have attraction 4, so what I'm going to do, and you can pre-measure any time in this game, is measure the 4-inch radius. Now, he doesn't have any Damned Ones of Pride, so that's a good thing, because those things can boost attraction, and I hate them. That's how Justin from Cypher Studios beat me at Valhalla. And don't worry, Justin, I'm going to get you. Don't worry about it. Okay, so I'm going to run this Blessed Warrior 4 inches up right here. And then I'm also going to Vesoli, spend a command point, and run this one up as well. All right, so it's now Jeremy's activation. Go ahead and tell us what you're doing.
All right, I'm going to activate Asalia, my fallen angel, the officer of my force here. And as she is a spellcaster, I am going to cast a spell with her.
All right, how does magic in this game work?
In this game, basically, you select one of the spells that you have. None of her spells cost command points or anything because they're not orders. She has 3 spells available to her. She has Plague of the Believers, which basically it explodes and damages an individual for double their faith value. Nauseating Cloud, which is the Lemure explodes into a cloud that damages anything around it. And Possession, which allows the Lemure to basically take over another model.
Yeah, and which one are you going to cast?
In this case, I am casting Nauseating Cloud. So what that does is I now get to place the Lemure anywhere within base contact of her. And so as long as it is touching her base and is in base contact, the spell is now cast on the Lemure is the spell.
Yes, so it grows out of the ground, and it can't do anything this turn because Lemures can't activate the turn they're summoned.
Correct.
But what's cool is that they can activate twice in a turn once they are able to activate, as long as they don't activate last. So it allows you to do some really cool things. Though, interestingly enough, you can't Vesoli them. So you can't activate them directly after someone.
Correct.
And just as a side note, Asalia, every Infernalist has a rating of a number and 2 numbers. The first number is how many Lemures they can control at one point, and the second number is how many they can control total and summon in a game. So she has a 2/3 rating. All right, and also, are you going to move Asalia, or are you just going to let her stay put?
Asalia. Since she can still move, I'm going to get her moving forward. Her 5-fathom movement.
All right. Okay, so my Saracens don't like the fact that these Damned Ones of Sloth are moving up on me, and they're starting to kind of go up there. So my Pillar of the Faith, who's pretty much the Nazir's bodyguard, is going to move up next. He has a movement of 4 inches. He's going to move there. Now, he is the only thing on both sides in this starter match that has a shooting attack. He has throwing daggers. Now, throwing daggers are not as good as, say, like a Arbiquester's rifle from the Westerner starter. But what it does allow me to do is to at least try and ping one of these guys. So, throwing daggers have a range of 4. Obviously outside of range, he is at a range of 8 inches. Now in Dorado, just because someone's outside your range doesn't mean you can't take a shot, it just makes it that much more difficult. The base defense rating for a shooting attack in this game is 3. Anytime that it's over your range increment, it goes up by 1. So where he's at 8 inches, he's got a defense of 4. So I'm also going to go ahead and activate a permanent command on the Pillar of the Faith to activate his Divine Strength. So that is permanently gone for the rest of the game, but that means he gets a +1 shooting, a +1 combat, and +1 faith for the rest of the game. So his shooting goes up from a 2 to a 3, which gives me 3 dice. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to Ve Victus for 2 more points, giving me 5 dice. So I need 4s to hit this guy. And I got 2 hits. Now here's what we do at this point. Every weapon in the game has a power rating on it. And these power charts, you compare the number of hits you got on the dice to the corresponding damage or effect it has. So with 2 hits, with the throwing daggers, I deal 4 damage to the Damned One of Sloth.
Alright.
Alright, so he's going to go ahead and mark this. Alright.
Alright, so the only thing I have left to activate is my Damned One of Wrath. Everyone else is gone, and the Lemire can't do anything. So I am just going to run him forward. He has a movement of 5, so he can go 10. So I'm going to run him about there.
Okay, and as you can see, things are about to get a little spicy over here because the Saracens can see all this business coming right at them. Alright, and I'm going to go ahead and activate the Emir, who is my last guy. And the Emir is just going to move his 4 inches up, and he's going to hang out with the Pillar of the Faith. So that is the end of turn 1, and we're going to move this little turn counter. This is actually just a little battle mat that I use that you can actually download off the Cypher forums from some of the fans for the game that made this, and I just had it printed on some pretty nice cloth. Okay, so the end of turn 1, we now determine dominance. Dominance only changes if someone dies, so since no one died, I'm still dominant and I get to go first. Okay, so I'd like to clarify something. I didn't actually use the 3-inch speed movement from Chom's aura. And now the reason I didn't do this is because these guys have attraction right here. And if I'd done that, I would have had to go into close combat with them. That plays directly into Jeremy's plan, whatever he's trying to do with the Nauseating Cloud. The Nauseating Cloud is bad, bad business. It poisons everything and you take damage pretty much for the rest of the game. So, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this Blessed Warrior, and I'm going... Oh, and that's also our command scores completely refill now. That's another thing I forgot. I'm going to have him run, and I'm going to have him move well outside that attraction range. He's going to move this way 4 inches, and then he's going to move this way another 4 inches. Then I'm going to Vesoli, and I'm going to do the same thing with this Blessed Warrior. He's going to move there, and then he's going to move over here. All right, Jeremy.
So we're going to get into combat now because I'm going to take my Damned One of Wrath, and he is going to charge into Matt's Blessed Warrior over here.
All right.
So it's a...
You don't even need to charge. You're within walk distance, so you can just walk and hit him.
Yep.
Not that it would bother the Damned One of Wrath, because he has Fury. All right, so...
walk up and hit him.
Okay, are you going to be Ve Victusing?
Let's see, I'm combat 4. So
Okay.
yeah, I will Ve Victus for 2.
All right, and the Blessed Warrior has a defense rating of 3, so you're going to need 3s to hit.
All right, so I get 5 dice and a reroll.
All right. And that is really, really good, and that's going to hurt quite a bit.
Yeah, so 4 hits from the Damned One of Wrath causes 8 damage.
8? Ooh, that is not good. The Blessed Warrior does not have that much health, but he has armor. So, protection, actually, no, that's not going to help him at all. He only has 5 hit points. He's dead. So, Blessed Warrior bites the dust, and that's the downside of that strategy I tried to pull. Now, I still get my attacks back, though, because in El Dorado, every time an attack happens, the person being attacked, unless they have a special effect like stunned or immobilized. Actually, stunned doesn't do anything, immobilized does. they still get their swing back. Now the Blessed Warrior only has a combat of 3, but since I know he's going out anyway, might as well try and have him punch full force and give him 5 dice with a +2 Ve Victus. What is the defense of the Damned One of Wrath?
4.
So it's a little bit more difficult for me to hit him. And I hit him for 3, which is going to deal 5 damage to the Damned One of Wrath.
Which against Wrath is quite a bit.
Yep, he has, what, 8 hit points, I believe?
Yeah.
So he almost died in that as well.
Yep.
Yep. All right, so now it's my activation. I've lost a Blessed Warrior, and the bad part is that means that Jeremy's going to get dominance unless I kill something this turn, which is unlikely. Possibly, we'll see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to activate Chom's Al-Majid again. This time what I'm going to do is I'm going to move him 6 inches. Actually, I'm going to run him. I'm going to run him 12 inches, which is going to take him a fairly large distance. Yeah, if you could just hand me that blue table painting measuring, what are these, little measuring sticks, I guess?
Just a measuring device.
Measuring device, okay. So that is going to be 6 right there, and then that'll put him well on the other side of the Blessed Warrior over here, and he's just going to sit base to base with him right there. Okay. And then I'm also going to, I think I'm going to Vaso Lee, and I'm going to activate the Pillar of the Faith. I'm going to move him 4 inches up, which is well outside his range, but puts him within line of sight of this guy over here, and he's going to throw a throwing dagger at you. And I'm going to Ve Victus with my last command point, so now I'm out of command, to give him 4 dice. I need a defense. He's got a defense of 4 at the moment at current range. And I only get 1 hit. 1 hit is 2 damage, which puts you at 7 damage. You're 1 hit point away. So I did not succeed in my plan, because of the dice rolls, to regain dominance by killing his Damned One of Wrath.
Yep.
Okay, so Jeremy, what are you going to be doing now?
For my next activation, I am going to move my Lemure.
Which,
It's got a movement of 8.
let's give him a little close-up of what this nasty little guy looks like. He's kind of like a little stitched doll with knives in his hands.
Yep, tied to his hands.
Yep.
All right, so he can move 8 inches just walking,
Okay.
and I'm going to move him directly towards Chalm's here.
Yep.
He's going to get to there, and his spell is going to go off.
Which creates a 3-inch radius nauseating cloud. This causes a condition called consumed. That particular one is a 2/5, which means for the next 5 turns, they're going to take 2 damage a turn, and they cannot stop it. It's a poison attack. So we're going to go ahead and take him off the board, because he is gone now. The best part is that means he can resummon him at a later point. And we're just going to put this little token to show where the center of the cloud is.
So there's a 6-inch diameter cloud there.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking at that kind of circle.
Yep. And I believe the Dorado templates, which are going to be out soon, will actually be the correct size for the nauseating cloud. All right, so all I have left to activate now on my side is the Nazir. So he is probably going to go over here next to the Pillar of the Faith. So he's going to hang out right there. He's not going to do anything because no one's hurt over there, and he's not going to risk going over in that nauseating cloud. So, unfortunately, I'm no longer dominant because Jeremy killed something this turn, and I failed to kill that Damned One of Wrath, because if we had tied, it would have defaulted back to me. Alright, so one thing about Vaseline a lot is that you're left with no activations like me, and Jeremy's got 3 of them left.
I still got 3 activations, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to activate Asalia. She is going to cast Plague of the Believers.
Alright.
So another Lemure comes out onto the table.
Yep, the little knifey guy is back. Or it's just cousin knifey.
So she can still cast, after this one, she can still cast 1 more spell.
Mm-hmm.
She has a maximum of 3 that she can summon to the table. So this is the second one. She has 1 more she can summon for the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then I am going to consume 3 of my orders permanently in order to use her Angelic Inspiration.
Yep.
And Angelic Inspiration heals every one of my guys for 8 life points.
So the damned one, all that damage I did to the damned one of wrath is gone now. And this is why, even though demons start off with less dominance abilities, they're still pretty good. They're quite tanky, and they have a lot of abilities to perform very well. And you've also got your other two activations.
Yeah, I have 2 more activations. My my sloth demons can still move here.
Okay.
So we'll go ahead and move 2 inches that way.
Okay.
And 2 inches that way.
And does that put the other sloth demon within the nauseating cloud range?
3 inches out. Nope.
Nope. So that's all that's going to do is get me in your attraction range, which is bad because now I have to go into close combat with them on my activations.
Yep.
So he has just drawn my entire army into the trap that is the demon starter.
Oh yeah. Right, because last turn I got a kill, and Matt
Now on
didn't.
turn 3, yeah, I did not get a kill just by the dice.
I now have dominance, which means I get to activate first. So, because I activate first, I am going to, let's see, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to activate my Lemure,
All right.
who's going to run 8 inches.
Because he activated him at the end of last turn, so that still counts for summoning and all that.
He's going to go straight up to there.
All right, and he's got Plague of the Believers on him, right? He's going from a Nazir, I can tell.
And I am going to Vasily, goes over there, goes over here, to take another order.
All right.
And I'm going to activate the Damned One of Wrath.
All right.
And he is going to use his 5 inches to walk into combat with Nazir.
Which locks him into combat. I see what you're doing. You're separating the Nazir and the Pillar of the Faith, so the Pillar of the Faith can't protect him.
That I am.
Of course, the Nazir is still a pretty tough customer.
He is a pretty tough customer, but that's why I'm having Wrath go up against him instead of Sloth.
Exactly. All right, so go ahead and do your attacks for the Damned One of Wrath.
Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and spend my last 2 command points to Vevictus twice.
All right.
So I'm at 5 dice and a reroll.
Okay.
And what is the defense on Nazir?
Nazir has a defense of 3.
Defense of 3. Okay, so I'm hitting on 3s here.
Okay, so you got 4 hits. That's bad.
Yeah, 4 hits. 4 hits from the Damned One of Wrath is 8 damage.
Ooh, 8 damage. All right, so that's going to hit the Nazir pretty hard. But the Nazir, like I said, he's no slouch. The Nazir starts off with a combat of 5. So what I'm going to do is I'm also going to Vevictus twice. And I'm going to punch out with 5 dice with 2 rerolls. And you have a defense of 4. And that's you see what I was saying in the battle report with Thomas. I am the king of bad mojo. Am I not?
I don't know about bad mojo, but those dice don't like you.
Well, okay, I got one more that hit. So I got 2 hits on mine, and that deals 5 damage. So even though I got a low rating on the dice, the Nazir still hits pretty nastily.
Right.
Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to activate the Nazir now. And I'm going to have the Nazir smack the Damned One of Wrath pretty hard. I'm not going to Vevictus this time. Because I've got, the thing is if you look over here, I've got 3 command points left. And I believe you have none.
I have none.
Because you used that permanent burn, which is rather expensive.
Yes.
And the best part is, I'm actually going to do the same thing now. I'm going to activate Inshallah Allah, and I'm going to permanently burn my last 3 command, boosting the defense of every one of my Saracens by +2. So now the Nazir, which had a defense of 3, now has a defense of 5. So that's going to make it a little tougher for your Damned One of Wrath to hurt him this time. So I still need 4s to hit you. And I do the exact same amount I did before, which is 5. Which is enough to, I believe, kill the Damned One of Wrath.
That will kill the Damned One of Wrath. He only had 3 left, but he does still get his attacks.
He still does get his attacks, so now he's hitting on 5s instead of 3s.
Yep. And he has 4 combat, so I get 4 dice, and I need 5s. And I get nothing. I whiff.
Alright.
That's a kill for you. Right, because my Lemure activated once already at the beginning of my turn, he can activate again as long as the first activation was the last. So I'm going to activate the Lemure again.
And you're well within range of the
well
Nazir.
within range because he's got 8-inch movement. And he is going to charge in and blow up.
And the bad part is that little ability I just used to boost my defense doesn't apply against Plague of the Believers. That deals double my faith score for the Nazir in damage to him. So he's a faith of 3, so he just took 6 damage. And that hurts him. The Nazir has 2 hit points left now. So he's just about killed my officer.
Yep.
Okay, so the Pillar of the Faith, unfortunately, is within attraction range of the Sloth Demon. What he's going to do is he's going to go ahead and walk up to him, and he's going to smack him. So, Pillar of the Faith has a 5 combat. He's actually even more powerful than the Nazir right now because of that Divine Strength that I activated earlier. So he's actually got 6 all on his own. Unfortunately, I don't have any command to make it any higher than that. But Sloth Demons, being very slothful, have a very low defense. They have a defense of 2, so I only miss on ones. Watch me roll a lot of them. That's cocked. I didn't roll a single 1. That's weird. That's just weird for me. But what it does mean is that the Pillar of the Faith just punched out with 9 damage.
Fortunately for me, the Damned Ones of Sloth are tanks with 18 hit points. So.
Yeah, yes they are. They're slow as all get out, and they don't have too bad of an attack, but they can take a beating. So he's going to attack back. My defense is currently a 6.
All right, so I have 3 attacks, 3 combat, and I need 6s. I got none.
Yeah, the Pillar of the Faith, whenever Inshallah Allah goes off, becomes pretty much the most amazing, defensive guy on the board for the Saracens. Pillars of the Faith are really awesome. Okay.
I'm activating this Damned One of Sloth, and we're just going straight into combat.
All right.
So, wait, do I have any orders?
You do not have any command left.
That's right, I don't have it.
Okay, so you'll hit him on
6s.
On 6s. So you got 1 6. That deals a little bit of damage to him.
It does 2 damage.
It does 2 damage to the Pillar of the Faith. Pillar of the Faith has 10 life points. Pillar of the Faith gets to hit back now with his 5 and a reroll. And he rolled a 1. And he does another 9 damage, which takes out that Sloth Demon. Just completely kills him. So the Sloth Demon is gone. Alright. So, now it is my activation. Okay, so it's my activation now. And I'm going to go ahead and activate Chom's Majid, the Jinn. And I'm going to have him activate an aura called Aura of Inspiration. Aura of Inspiration allows him to boost the combat of Saracens by +1 that are in range. And while he's not going to actually attack, he's going to move over here so that he is in combat, which is going to give your guy a free strike.
Okay. I get my 3. What's Chom's?
Chom's is currently actually he's currently untouchable, I believe, because he's his defense is above a 6, so you actually can't hit him, I believe.
Okay.
I think you can actually. I'm not 100% sure, but I think you can still hit him on 6s though.
Okay.
Which you roll 2 of them.
All right, and from the Damned One of Sloth, 2 is 3.
Yes, and I was correct. It is a maximum of defense 6. So he dealt 3 damage to the Damned One of Sloth.
Yeah, other way around.
Oh, other way around?
I dealt 3 damage too.
Yes. Okay, I'm sorry about that.
And does he take the cloud damage?
The cloud damage? Yes, he also takes the cloud damage as well. So Choms has taken 5 damage total. Alright.
Okay. Okay, so I activate the Sloth Demon, and he's going to go ahead and attack Choms.
Alright.
He needs 6s. And he doesn't get any.
No 6s that time. Alright, so now what I'm going to do for my next activation is I'm going to move the Blessed Warrior into close combat. Now, Choms may have taken a bit of a hit when he went in there, but this is where it pays off. Because now that Blessed Warrior has got all sorts of buffs. The Blessed Warrior has a base of 3 dice. His combined attack, normally you get a support bonus of +1, but his combined attack gives him a support bonus of +2. He's also got the +1 bonus from Chom's aura that boosts him. So he's currently sitting on 5 dice and a reroll. And he only needs 2s to hit. And he hits, well that's cocked, hold on. Cocked again. Alright, he hits with all 5 hits and deals 9 damage to the Damned One of Sloth. And the Damned One of Sloth gets a hit back as well, and he's at defense 5.
Alright, so I get 3 dice, need 5s. Nothing.
Nothing. Okay.
Right, I have Azalea left to activate. She is going to cast her last Lemure with another Plague of the Believers,
Alright.
which will summon right there.
And that's going to be very bad for the Emir if that thing gets to him.
Then she's going to go ahead and move. Let's see.
Sorry for the interruption. Go ahead and Jeremy and review what you were doing.
I activated Azalea, summoned the Lemure, and then just moved her up to here.
Okay, and so she's hanging out over there. And that Lemire is going to try and come after the Emir. And I believe that is the end of turn 3 now. So at this point, because we're running out of time on the camera, we're just going to review at the end of each turn what happened to save a little time so you can see how this plays out. Okay, so turn 4 recap. Here's what happened. The Nazir walked back and healed himself because he knew that Lemire was going to screw him up pretty badly. And then the Pillar of the Faith charged in over on the Sloth Demon and just proceeded to wail on him. And then the Blessed Warrior proceeded to, finish him off. And now Chom's has started wailing on Azalea. Was that all 3 of your spells for the game as well?
That was all 3 of my spells, so I don't have any spells left. The Lemure did make it over to Nazir and inflicted another 6 damage on him.
Mm-hmm. So he's at 1 hit point.
He's at 1 hit point, but my officer is stuck in combat.
Yeah, and the worst part is even if you tried to go away, you would just have to go directly into the Pillar of the Faith's attraction rating because you're within the 3 inches.
Yep. So
you are in it now. So we're going to go ahead and do turn 5. A feeling that this turn things are going to probably make clear who's going to win this.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so turn 5 recap. This got a little nasty for me. So Chom's was stunned, so he couldn't activate his aura, so he walked in and smacked Azalea for hardly any damage because the dice were not with me. And then the Pillar walked in and smacked her. He didn't do much damage either, did he?
He did 3.
3? Okay. And then the bad part is Azalea immobilized the Pillar of the Faith with her evil gaze, which means he is currently unable to do anything, and she's going to get a free strike on him. He's also really, really badly hurt with 3 life points left. The Nazir healed himself for 5, pulling himself up out of the ground pretty much by the power of his faith. And he walked forward 4 inches. He's trying to get to the Pillar of the Faith so he can heal him before Azalea punks him.
Which she's going to start... She's the only thing I have left to activate, so for turn 6.
And we're only going to go 1 more turn, which we're on turn 6 now. So at the end of this...
You've got dominance still. So.
I've got dominance, so I'm about to activate. Alright, so turn 6 is over, and we're going to go ahead and call it. Basically...
it ends.
It ends. Turn 6 is the last... we were kind of just playing a general kill each other scenario. No particular scenario at all. Azalea life drained Chom's and sucked the life right out of him, and he turned back to normal sand. And then the Pillar of the Faith got healed by the Nazir. So at this point, even if we were to continue to play, I have a feeling that Azalea would have a hard-pressed fight against those 2.
She doesn't hit very hard. Every single one of her hits just does something special. The most damage she can do is 2.
Yeah, I mean, if she gets 5 hits, she gets the Consumed ability, which is basically setting you on fire. Kind of like the Nauseating Cloud, same rating. You'd just be taking a lot of damage over time. Yeah. That would have been really the saving grace, and if I could just continue to not hit you and keep rolling crap. What was your favorite thing about the game and about the demons in particular?
My favorite thing about the demons is that they don't take a lot of synergy to play. You don't have to be real careful in your army list building. You don't have to be real careful about how close you are from one unit to another. I mean, Azalea has an aura that lets you heal people within 6 inches. But even then, most of your demons are either disposable or have lots of hit points. So They're not really dependent upon that aura. So it's a very forgiving army.
Okay. And what do you like about Dorado in general? After having played, this is like your second match of it, I believe.
Yeah. I like the Dorado is fairly quick as a game. A lot of games, a lot of miniature games, even skirmish games, you're looking at 2-3 hours per game.
And we started this, around 4 o'clock, and what time is it now?
It's 5:30.
So, and this was us taking our time as well, doing a decent battle report.
Yeah, filming it always makes it take longer.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we just sat down and played, we'd knock this out in 45 minutes to an hour.
Yep. All right. Okay, so my favorite thing about the Saracens is the fact that they do synergize well. Unlike the demons, if you play them right, they play off each other a lot, like the Blessed Warriors and the Jinn. They all buff each other. And unlike the Fallen Angel, I didn't have like the massive healing buff that she was able to throw out at that one point that completely wiped out all the damage that I had done. But the Nazir does have that ability where he can just basically walk around one at a time going, here's 5 life, here's 5 life, over and over again. Dorado in general, the same things that you were saying, it's short, it's sweet. The rules are really simple. I mean, like any war game, you do have to learn the intricacies of the rules. But I think it's a lot easier to learn these rules, and it's a lot easier to get into just in general than say like a 40K or a bigger game that might off-put someone because of the complicated rule structure. So that's our Dorado bat rep. Comment and see if you want to see more Dorado bat reps. Let us know, and just let us know.